You've got to get mad. Yeah, well, I'm as mad as hell.
I suppose in the 18-year history of our show, we've never had any star who's won such affectionate acceptance.
Put a chick in it, make her gay. Ain't nobody got time for that.
They were big. They were hitting hard too, man.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Broaden the areas of participation for women.
That sounds very stylish.
What is my problem?
What do you think?
Beat sitting home watching television?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining. Great to see you. I know the weekend is almost over. That kind of makes me sad because then tomorrow we'll all suffer from a case of the Monday. So that's no fun. But anyway, I hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you guys got to check out the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie. I did a review, so if you have a chance, check it out. I don't think there's really spoilers or anything. It just kind of gives a general overview of the basic plot and kind of my thoughts and everything on it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Picked up one of these bad boys here. Let me see if I could show you here. This sucker out of the way. So the little popcorn Wolverine bucket here. You get his mouth, and I just wanted to show, kind of like Disney here. It's like, guess what? You know, you give people what they want, and you can kind of make money. So yeah, Disney, you hear that sound of cha-ching, the money kind of going there. Yeah, you get the point. You give people what they want, and you can kind of make money. So there was that. Definitely, if you go to the movie theater and you have an AMC nearby, get the Wolverine popcorn bucket. It's kind of weird, kind of making fun of the whole Dune, vaginal kind of thing. But yeah, fun times. Just drizzle it in butter. It'll be great. But anyway, without further ado, I have a guest that I'm really excited to finally have a chance to chat with here. Great comic book. I had the opportunity. He was kind enough to send me a digital copy of the first book, The Embrace, about maybe a year and a half or so ago. And I did a review of that. I was so moved and so touched by it. It tackles some very difficult subject matter. And I think he did it in a very respectful and classy way. And to me, I don't know if this has been done before, but it was a very creative character. And so, yeah, without further ado, let me bring him on. And let's see, what do I have here that I could bring him on with? That might be appropriate. I think this one, it's in the spirit of The Embrace, maybe.
A Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves, or draws fireflies,
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater.
That is quite the intro. I'm not sure if I can follow
nailed
up
to
the
the top one. Well, thank you very much,
so
Michael.
much for having me on, by the way.
Oh, well, I was just, it's an honor. Great to have you here. The book, as I was just mentioning, your book, The Embrace, the first one, it really was touching. And like I said, it deals with very sensitive subject matter that, some people might have some trouble kind of, breaching that topic. But I think you handled it very respectfully. For those who are not aware, would you mind telling us a little bit about you and a little bit about The Embrace?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Michael Oden. I am an independent comic book creator. I got started in indie comics back in 2020 when I started my own indie comic publishing imprint, Nine Realms Publishing. And The Embrace is the second title that I worked on. And it is a dark take on the superhero genre and a story that focuses on a man named Clarence Griffin, who is a grieving father whose son has been murdered, and in the year since his death, there hasn't been any movement on the case. And so when the police give up on looking for David's killer, Clarence, in an act of desperation, is about to take his own life when the ghost of his son shows up and stops him. And when they're reunited in an embrace, Clarence is given a vision of the truth of what happened that night through his son's eyes. And when he comes to from this vision, he's in a superhero suit powered by his son's ghost. And so together they are this spectral hero going out to get justice on to bring David's killers to justice. So they're like, going after the killers, bringing them to police and everything like that. The story itself deals with a lot of things like obviously concepts of fatherhood, loss, exploring the dynamic between justice and vengeance. And yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I just, like I said, I'm going to show a little bit here. Let me kind of get this set up. And I kind of mentioned off air with you that, you were kind enough to send out a digital copy, but I was just waiting for the Embrace 2 campaign to launch, with kind of a bated breath, because I really wanted to, get a physical copy. I like I said, I was so moved by this book. And just to give some, people an idea of the what the book is about here.
You got the Kickstarter edition of the O'Reilly cover. That's awesome.
I like it. I like it a lot. I just, it has the hero front and center, kind of like a heroic badass pose. And then again, you get the father and son combo there, and then kind of like a taste of the villain. So I just had to jump on that one,
Oh, it's 100% understandable. Jim O'Reilly did a fantastic job on that piece. And then he brought in Sigmund Torre, who is a big industry colorist that's worked on like Spawn and a whole bunch of other things to do the color work. And I mean, they did something fantastic with that.
I dare say if this was on, if I was going to a comic shop and I saw this on the shelf, I would think, this had been done by a longtime pro, or, was put out by one of the big two or the larger companies. I mean, it looks really, professional and polished and everything. So definitely my hat's off to you with that. And another thing we were talking about with the art by Dean James, our friend from Down Under.
Absolutely. Our comic friend. Yeah. So Dean did this first book, and this was his first ever comic, right? And so he has, I think that he did a very respectable job in the first book, but he has grown so much as an artist. Yeah. And so if you could do me a favor, because at the back of this version of the book, we actually get a 6-page preview,
right,
of the second book. So to see, just look at how beautiful that is.
Double page spread. This is what got my attention. Saw that, the car coming at you, you kind of get like the Spider-Man on the train.
It was a fantastic thing. When I did the script for that page, I was like, all right, we want to do like a 2-page splash collage. I know at the centerpiece, I want the Embrace kind of on top of a car during like a car chase. But then I want everything in the collage just be like the Embrace doing superhero shit.
Yeah.
And so we have, Spider-Man 2 reference. We've got,
right,
the Embrace saving a cat from a tree. You've got the Embrace saving the going up against somebody robbing robbing a store, or having someone holding somebody at gunpoint or what have you. Like all the superhero stuff you can imagine, as well as obviously telling elements of the first book in a way that could potentially catch the reader up to this point.
Yeah. You can definitely see how much Dean has leveled up, in the beginning here. And I think I even noted this in my review, there's some areas where it's rough, some of the faces are, maybe a little rough. but that didn't really bother me. What I was really, blown away by were some of the different perspectives and everything that he tried.
Yes.
Just like here with the fly, you have the fly buzzing into the room, and then you kind of get this close up of the fly's eye and the reflection and everything. And I love an artist who just experiments with new things, tries something different. And
100%. And I think that that's one of Dean's biggest strengths. And I think that it's the thing that has really allowed for him to develop into as strong of an artist as he is. He's not bound by a lot of the convention. Most of these guys that are in comics, they've gone through art school, and there's like a, how to do this, how not to do that. And there's a very kind of rigid mindset where Dean has some of that training for sure, but he's way less afraid of asking, why can't I do this?
Right.
And then trying to figure out a way to take something that might not conventionally work and experiment with it to make it something that really stands out on a page.
Yes. And another aspect of the book is the panels. You don't just have white space. It looks like the page, every part of the page was utilized in many ways, in creative, in different creative ways. So, there have been some books recently where it just seems like the real estate with the white, background. It's almost glaring. Like it kind of takes you out of the story a little bit, because you just have these stark borders that are contrasting with the panels and everything. I loved how Dean kind of was, just how he did the movements and everything of the embrace, very acrobatic and the flow. And then he kind of incorporated, again, some of those angles and everything in the different panels. Just really, really fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing too is I know it cannot be easy to come up with a new design, a superhero design. Here, invent me a superhero. That's got to be a really daunting task. So how much of it was you? How much of it was Dean? Like, was it more of just a really collaborative effort?
It was a pretty collaborative effort. And this is what I will say. So this was a character that I couldn't write the script until I saw there. I kept trying to come at the script before we had the design, and I couldn't do it because I couldn't visualize how his powers worked, right?
Yeah.
And so when I got introduced to Dean by Lee Byron Carver, who's Kemosabe Returns on YouTube. He did the Company Ben book, which is a fantastic read. We had a lot of discussions. We were talking to each other back and forth, and on an hour long conversations while I was at work and what have you, just what we wanted to have in this book, or what we wanted to have for this design specifically. And I had written a lot about these are the kinds of properties that I kind of want to pull from aesthetic wise. And then the big thing that I knew that I wanted was the motif with the hands.
Yes.
Right. Because one of the big things that I really wanted to have it be is I wanted this costume to convey that you had these smaller hands wrapped around Clarence that were David's ghost protecting his father.
Yes.
And that was the big thing that I knew for sure that I wanted in the design, and that was my big push. But then everything else was all right, we want to pull a little bit from aesthetically from things the Darkness and Symbiote Spider-Man and Spawn and Haunt and the Crow and everything like that. So it was very much a whole thing of it was a fairly collaborative process, but at the end of the day, I didn't have this character formed in my head until, not fully anyway, until Dean's art happened.
Right.
So
How about the name? Did you even have the name down at that
No,
point?
the embrace. I like I knew that's what I wanted to call the character, and I knew what the story. Like I knew what the story was going to be about. Like I knew that I wanted it to be about, a child who like a father who lost his child, and then his child's ghost comes back to help him, like and save him from himself. Like I knew that that's what I wanted to do. But it's one of those things where, you can sit there and know that that's what you want to do, but when you're trying to put that onto like a page and have the embrace do stuff like fight people and everything like that, it's one of those things where if you can't see it, you can't really write it.
Right.
And so Dean did that initial character sketch, and like his first draft was pretty close to what we ended up using in the final. Like there were very few revisions, but like the moment I saw that, I was like, all right, this is it. And I started getting to work.
Yeah. Just the whole concept of, his son, embracing him, being, protecting him, being that suit and everything that, I just really, really dug that. Again, it was just really touching. I thought it was really creative. And it looks so cool, like so, like just epic looking. I like how the costume is not too busy, but it just has all the elements that just kind of check off that cool factor,
100%. Like, and I think that's one of those obvious big strengths is when you're making a design, there needs to obviously be things to make it unique and distinctive, but simplicity is really the core drive of any superhero costume, right?
Yeah.
Like you want something that anybody could draw and replicate while still being a unique thing that stands on its own.
Right.
So yeah.
Touching back on the story, what was the inspiration behind the story? Was there anything from your personal life?
Yeah, there were a couple of things that kind of. So, if you know anything about James O'Barr's The Crow, you know that the emotional fuel for The Crow was James O'Barr had lost his fiance. She died in she got killed in a drunk driving accident. And then, but like Eric and Shelley Webster, those characters came from, James O'Barr read in a newspaper a story about this young couple getting killed over a plastic engagement ring.
Oh my God.
And so very similar, for me, the embrace emotionally came from this point where I was going through a pretty bad custody fight. And when you're in that situation, it's very difficult, especially as a guy, because like everything tells you your goose is cooked, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be going your way. And I ended up being fairly fortunate, and that's not how it went for me. But at the time, that's where my mind was. And then
right.
On top of that, like it's like that was like, the emotional fuel. But then David and Clarence were born from a story that I read right after my son was born, where I had been shown I'd been shown this story that this park that I used to walk through all the time, Holmes Run River Park in Alexandria, which is where the Alexandria is where the embrace takes place.
Mm-hmm.
This kid's body was found. It had been killed in the act of gang violence. And so the first thing that you think of when you see that as a new parent is, oh my God, that could have been my kid. And especially because, it's a place that I went through all the time. Right. I used to go on walks through there. I used to go jog through there. Like, it was a place that I frequented a lot. And so when I was going through this really bad time in my life, for some odd reason, this story of the kid just came flooding back to me. And that's where the embrace came from.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of, I guess, fortuitous in a way that, you could take all of that emotional turmoil and everything that you were experiencing and at least kind of focus it in a direction where you could create something that is positive and will hopefully be long lasting. I'm hoping to see many more issues of the embrace, which is kind of why we're here, to kind of celebrate the second issue and everything. Like I said, I think that you tackled the very sensitive subject matter within the book, especially the scene where, I'm sorry, what was the young boy's name again?
David,
when he's showing his dad, Clarence, the, what happened, the revelation of, what happened, what led to his death. And I mean, I think in, somebody else's hands that, didn't really have the control and everything, I don't think that they would have handled it as well. And I mentioned in my review that it just really, really impressed me how you handled it. And you handled it respectfully, but you still left the weight of the emotional impact there, but it was still done really respectfully. And I think that was great.
I think that the big thing that when writing something like this, I think that the big thing that would be challenging for a lot of people is not getting kind of lost in the darkness of its premise.
Yeah.
When you look at things like The Crow or Haunt or Spawn, they're these very dark and nihilistic portraits of society, right? Like they are speaking to these dark places in ourselves. And like there is definitely an element of that in the embrace. But one of the big things that I really wanted to come through in this is that, as parents, our children are the best parts of ourselves. And David is the best parts of Clarence. And he's come back to save his dad. He's not there for revenge. He's an 8-year-old kid that had, that had a loving family. And, he sees his dad struggling. And how desperate his dad is for something.
Yeah, because he was at his lowest point, and then
exactly.
David was able to come to him and help him. Exactly. And you brought up an interesting point about how some of those stories just tend to get really nihilistic and bogged down in the weight of, the darkness. And I think that's a problem with a lot of the entertainment today. There's nothing wrong with tackling dark subject matter, which, case in point, your book. But it seems like that a lot of the shows today, a lot of the movies just kind of want to wallow in it. And then when you get to the end of the story, it's not so much a story of hope. It's like, well, that's how the world is. It sucks, doesn't it? And then it's just like, we're supposed to just go on from that. And you watch a lot of the entertainment today, and it's almost soul crushing at some points. It's like, I need to go back and just watch some lighthearted silliness to just kind of unwind from the darkness that exists out there today.
100%. And I think that is the thing that makes the embrace such a unique thing, right? Is like, the first 8 pages or so hit you like a runaway ice cream truck emotion.
Yeah, they do.
Like you get that scene where like Clarence pulls up to the metro station, and like I think Dean's art is like perfect here, and you've got the chorus line from Airplanes by B.O.B. and Haley Williams playing there, where it's like, if do you believe that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now. And so I have that, and he's pulling in, and you see the look on Clarence's face, and it's just like it feels like you're being stabbed in the gut. Like it's rough. And but then the moment David comes, the moment that the embrace is born, there is a life breathed into not just Clarence, but the book in and of itself. You get these beautiful father-son banter, that really kind of showcases just the great thing that they had together. And
the joy that Dean captured in Clarence's face, just having even if it was just that one more moment to see David
not even
again.
just the joy, but the shame, where like David's like, were you really going to hurt yourself? And then just the look of complete, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like how could I have allowed myself to get to this point?
No, it's just great. And then I love that that Clarence kind of has that moment of, will I give in to my lust for vengeance?
100%. And that's where, David comes in, and he is the suit, right? So like David's not going to let him go too far. And, one of the things that I really wanted to push is them having this love of comic book superheroes. And so we have the astonishing arachnotine instead because, I don't want a certain mouse to get angry at me if my book is big. So they used to read that comic. And so there is this whole justice, not vengeance aspect to it. And then, one of my favorite pages from the first book is actually, I think it's then like the next page where they start to use the ghost powers for the first time. This police officer has them at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And so the embrace reaches out and grabs his gun and then like breaks it. And when you look at the art on the page, you go, oh man, this is a really badass scene. And then you read the dialogue, and it creates this very light juxtaposition, because like you're reading the dialogue and it's literally David go, oh, I'm going to try something cool.
Yeah. Clarence is just like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? You can't do that.
Yeah, the cop at the end is just like, like, you don't pay me enough for this. But yeah, it was fun. It legitimately felt fun. I think those are some of the best, scenes in superhero origin stories, is when they're kind of discovering their powers for the first time. They don't know what the limits are, what the boundaries are. They just, kind of go for broke and try different things. And it was neat to see that interaction between David and Clarence as they're, just kind of going through the night sky and, kind of reconnecting, but then also discovering everything that the suit has to offer. So really thought that was fun.
Yeah
no, great 100%. Imagery.
I think that's 100% on the money there. Like, and I think that Dean's art does like a really good job with expressing the emotions that each of the characters are feeling. His faces are very expressive, and it's really exciting to see how that grows and goes into issue 2, where you get to see the things that made the first book work get dialed up to 11, right? And like he's still growing as an artist, he's still improving. And so like as good as this stuff looks, like, the Embrace is planned to be a 5 to 6 issue miniseries, right? On this story specifically of David.
Nice.
And so like, I can only imagine what it's going to look like when we get to the end, right? Like it's a very exciting notion to have.
Absolutely. So we've kind of reviewed the original Embrace. So let's I'm going to bring up your campaign here. Let me see. hide that one and bring up this. Bear with me 1 second here. Share screen. And we'll add, there we go. Okay, so we have the Embrace 2.
Yes, the Embrace 2. So, what to say about it? I mean, we're obviously picking up where the first story left off. And you're going to get to meet the, you technically already met Strangle at the end of the first book, but you are going to be seeing his first clash with the Embrace. And as you can tell by the cover, things don't go particularly well for our hero.
Right.
This is very much a we bit off more than we can chew kind of moment. Like if I were to compare this to anything, it's the Empire Strikes Back, right? Luke's gone through his training and he thinks that he's the shit, and he goes up against Darth Vader and he's definitely grown.
Yeah.
But
and loses a freaking hand.
he certainly does not go that certainly does not go the way he wants it to. And so, there's definitely a similarity with that. And one of the big things that we're doing with the Embrace is Clarence's journey is very much about going through the process of grief, right? So he's been stuck for so long at like step 1, which is just the sorrow and like not being able to see the forest for the tree, like just being completely lost. And so now he's
down in that depression.
Yeah, so he's finally moving into the anger stage, right? Like you're gonna get a little bit of that emo Parker from Spider-Man 3.
Oh no!
Where it's or like the bully Parker scenes. Like there's we have Captain Stone, who is very much our if I were to compare him to a mainstream character, it'd be like Commissioner Gordon, right? All of this evidence is pointing towards Clarence. He knows that's he knows something's going on, and he's trying to be fair and level-handed with Clarence. Is trying to reach out to him, but Clarence is ignoring all of his calls. And so they have this big interaction in the book, and Clarence is a dick the entire time, pretty much. Like he is very he never says, "Oh, I'm the one behind it," but it's very much, like a kind of like, "Oh, well, whoever's doing this is doing your guys' job better than you ever did."
And that stems from his, I guess, disappointment from when he feels like the police let him down.
Exactly.
When they dropped the ball in his son's murder.
Yeah, and so that's ultimately like the whole point. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Well, so Mo constantly. So the funny thing is that I actively chose the name Clarence because if you were to pick like a name for like the least badass sounding name on the face of the planet, I wanted it to be that he is just like the most normal, unassuming guy,
non-threatening.
Yeah,
you get your ass kicked by Clarence,
Exactly. That was actively the mindset when I was naming the character. I didn't want him to you look at some of these characters and you're just like, man, you got to think about who decided to name you this, because it's like your parents are just setting you up to either be badass or get bullied your entire life. But it's Jackie.
It's like what would be worse, like Herbert or
yeah, exactly.
Felix.
And so I actively chose it because of its mundanity, right? It's not the most exciting name on the face of the planet. I think that kind of adds to the humanity of the character, right?
Absolutely.
This is a guy whose kid's been taken from him and he feels utterly powerless. And I mean, look at him. His name's Clarence. What the fuck is a Clarence going to do in the world? right?
Sell you eyeglasses or something. I don't know.
So but yeah, so yeah, the big thing that we're doing in this obviously is kind of having him finally process grief. And so right now he is in this stage of anger, right? And as he goes throughout the book, it's going to, like, this is a big part of it, is him coming through and getting to experience and process the grief that he has been denying himself this entire time. Because at the end of this story, David's still dead. Like, there is no rewinding the clock on that. That happened. It can't, that bell can't be unrung. And so there is going to come a point where Clarence has to accept this, because it would be irresponsible of him as a father to keep his son around for his sake. And
and not let his son kind of, I guess, find peace in the afterlife.
Exactly. And so, like, that's the, like, eventually that is where the story is going to go. And we're introducing a character at, like, the very end of this book that's going to be his kind of spiritual Yoda, that's going to be like, at what point is enough? Because at the end of the first book, the guy that actually killed David, that held the knife, is brought to the police.
That's true, yeah.
So at what point is enough? At what point is justice served for you? Like, what are you actually holding on to?
Are you going to delve into, I guess, what allowed David to come back? Or are you just going to kind of leave that?
Oh, no, that's going to be pretty, like, you get some teases at it in this book. The third and possibly, so, like, the reason why I said that it's going to be a 5 to 6 issue miniseries is the next book, book 3, is going to be very big, and I might end up having to split it into 2 books.
Wow.
Because you're going to, like, we're going to be delving a lot into, the lore behind everything, kind of explaining what exactly is the embrace, and have there been others that have had this kind of bond, that have been through this kind of thing before, and what can we learn and gather from those people? And there are going to be things that are explored in that, and admittedly, there's going to be room to do spin-off stuff from that. Like a showcasing different.
That's great marketing.
Periods. But like but the main thing is that at the core of each of these journeys, what's the point, right? Like where is the line for these people? And I'm very excited for people to meet this character and for me to actually get to talk a bit more about them. And it will, I think people are going to be blown away by his story personally. Like, I'm very excited about it.
The setup is very compelling, so I am very interested to see where you take the story for sure. And I was just going through some of these pages and just kind of drinking in all the detail that Dean has included in here. And then some of the stuff, I guess, like the little Easter eggs, Moe's in here. Let's see. Got some bunny stuff there. I can't really read what some of the words say in here, but
it's effectively Captain Stone being like, hey, so I've been trying to reach you. We've reopened your kid's case because a whole bunch of new evidence has surfaced. There's this vigilante character, like there's this vigilante going around and busting up this gang that seems to be tied to your kid's murder. And it's effectively Captain Stone going, I know you're up to something. I don't know what it is, but please get in touch with me so that I can protect you, because this is the real world.
Right.
And this is a superhero comic. Oh, the irony. But like, like this is the real world. There are consequences to this shit. Like, please get in touch with me.
And let's see, did we have a video included in this?
We do not have.
Do not. Okay.
On this one.
Well, let's go over some of the covers and different options here. Like I said, I was just drinking in some of the artwork. It's just, I mean, it's true. Dean really is improving with leaps and bounds here.
Yeah, and we also have a new colorist, Eugene Bedevou, who works with Phil Diaz over on the Lost pages, and his color work on Dean's lines are beautiful. Like, Paul Bellick, I think, did a very strong job on the first book, but there were some issues with, like when we were starting production on this, and we on our initial production schedule, he wasn't as responsive or reliable, and that had nothing to do with him as a person and everything to do with he lives in the Ukraine and everything was just starting over there. So it was like we would go like weeks without hearing from him. So there was no guarantee that that we would be able to keep to a steady production schedule. So it was an unfortunate thing where we were like, okay, well,
sometimes the real world just gets in the way, and kind of.
I mean, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Like, we had Paul color that 2-page spread, and we had Eugene color it, and this was kind of like the test. And it was just the response to Eugene's colors was way so it was just okay, between the fact that everything's going on in the Ukraine right now, and Paul might not be as reliable, and then the response to Eugene's colors on this page, it was just
it made sense.
It was like, all right, we're gonna go with Eugene.
So we have the main cover by the man himself, Dean James.
Yes, which I'm very excited about. When actually, I'm working on getting a proof printed right now, because at 4,500 we hit our first stretch goal, which was to turn this into a UV spot gloss cover.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did. I did one of the perks where you get to choose 2 covers. And
so
I think I did this one.
That was the secret tier. Did you see the fun add-on that was on that?
I'm trying to remember. I'll have to go back through the email there.
If you go and you take a look, there is an add-on for a 12-page preview of my next book, Elysian Fields Reborn. So, like, if you didn't get that, I highly recommend. Like, that preview should be finished in the next 2 weeks.
Excellent.
And we'll be going to the printer like 2nd or 3rd week of August. So we'll be shipping those books out.
That'll be great. And I love the Irene Strakowski cover. This is just
Rini did a very good job on that cover. And at 7,500, which is our next stretch goal, which we are very close to, this gets upgraded to a holofoil, lava holofoil.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And C was Avery Ferdinand.
Eder Messias and Avery Ferdinand. So Eder is the guy that does the line work on this, and he did the art on a book called Spider-Man Last Hunt that Marvel did back in, I think, 2018. And then Avery is a colorist that I just really enjoy working with. Really good dude. So we wanted to do this kind of Spider-Man style cover, and Eder and Avery crushed it.
You get that vibe for sure. Just kind of it looks like the webbing, almost like Spider-Man's webbing coming out and just tying everyone up. And then the Bancroft cover, this kind of made me smile because he has a hard time with hands.
So that was the whole thing, is when I hit Bancroft up about this cover, I was like, there are 2 stipulations that I have. you have to draw all the hands. You have to draw as many hands as you can fit into the cover. But then you also have to work in one of your ginger root hands as like a Where's Waldo thing.
I've been looking for it.
Hidden on this cover is one of the ginger root hands.
Gotta find it, darn it. Where is it? That'll be a game to play for another day for sure. And the glow in the dark, I'm gonna have to go back and get this one, I think.
Well, and so this is a special cover. So like we're only doing 50 of these, and the way we're running this campaign is we're doing Indiegogo here. We're 14 days away from the end of our first 30. Then we'll obviously extend and do a second 30. But once that's over, we're going to move over to Fund My Comic and do like 30 days there, and then we're going to do 30 days on Kickstarter. And so the Haunted Edition is at its cheapest on the Indiegogo, because when the Indiegogo wraps up, however many are left, that goes on to the Fund My Comic, and the price goes up.
I see.
Right? Because then it's like, oh, well, there's only like 20 of these left. And then, then by the time it goes to Kickstarter, when the more that have sold, that price goes up again. So the Haunted Edition cover is fantastic. You get a glow-in-the-dark cover. It'll be signed and numbered by Shelby Robertson. And there is a max of 50 that will be made. And if less than 50 get sold throughout that campaign time, which I don't expect, then that'll be however is made, because those things are these are not cheap to make.
I've heard that. I've heard that the glow in the dark covers are no cheap thing. So I'll have to. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that just really drives the point home that I need to act fast.
Yes.
But what to save some money? Act fast. Let's see what else we have here. This I thought was really cute. Now, where did you get these plushies? Embrace plushies.
Man. So I got the initialed one done by one company, and then they had to jack up their rates a pretty considerable amount. So I went overseas and got them. And I should have just stayed with the original company, because my initial quote was less than that person, but then I also had to pay for like a specific toy manufacturer test to be done, and that was like an additional $800. So
what the heck? Well, what did they have to test to make it so expensive?
It's a standard thing. I think that it's whenever you have like toys or plushies or anything like that made internationally, where there are different regulations, the U.S. requires a specific test to showcase that there are no hazardous materials used in the manufacture.
I see.
in the manufacturing. So it's like, it's one of these things where I ended up getting destroyed on the back end, but we've sold a good deal of them now. It was funny because when we first did this, we had all of these people be like, I love the idea of doing a plushie. I need that plushie. Make the plushie, please. And so I did.
And then you see the price tag and people are like, well,
it's like, then like I priced them out at a point where like, okay, well, if I sell a bunch of these, like I'll be turning a profit. And then nobody backed them. And I was like,
It's true. I don't know what I'm doing. I just fake it till I make it. No, the plushies are really cute. I just think back to the 80s, how I don't know how any of us survived, because everything had lead in it or something toxic. Didn't have any fire retardant chemicals in it. Everyone was smoking back then. I don't know how we all go up in flames. Let's see here.
Luck of the draw?
Yeah, exactly. Darwin, a little bit of Darwinism there, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so, and then you have, you're doing some of the pages too.
Dean does, the way that Dean does his art is he does his pencils digitally, and then he inks traditionally. So like we have his pages up here, like that 2-page spread has still for some reason not sold. So like that you can go and you purchase his art.
It's beautiful. And then this one, didn't it glow as well? The one of David?
Yes, that one glows in the dark as well. That is a traditional piece that Dean did where it's of David. This is actually one of my favorite Dean James pieces ever. And like if this still for some reason has not sold by the time that we finish everything with the Embrace 2 between all of our campaigns, then I will probably end up purchasing it because I love it. Like I love that piece so much. David is I think understandably very like my favorite part of the Embrace. He's probably my favorite character in the series to write.
Hits close to home.
Yeah.
I love the box too. That includes everything. That's the artwork on it is just really nice. The painted.
We got
artwork.
This fantastic artist, Shimhack. He does a lot of digital paintings specifically targeted at stuff like Elden Ring, Berserk, and like the Souls franchise. And when Dean and I first were working on this, he had talked about wanting to get like a horror style painting done on the Embrace at some point. And I saw this guy's artwork and I was like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And so we got him to do it, and we have that for the collector box. And the collector box, like, let me tell you, like, so we're not doing tchotchkes for our stretch goals. We're investing our stretch goals into increasing the quality of the covers in the book. But
I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, but for people who want that extra stuff, it's all in the box. In the box, you get a copy of the Embrace one, which has the Joel Gomez variant, where that we were doing, where it's like $5 of every one of those sold goes to the Virginia Victims Assistance Network, who host they run a support group for homicide survivors.
Oh, wow.
So effectively, like the family and loved ones of homicide victims. So it's a cool cause to be a part of. So you get one of those. You get all of the covers for the Embrace 2, which as I said, as we go through each stretch goal, like each one of those is getting upgraded. You get a T-shirt of the Embrace. You get the trademark Embrace sticky hand. You get the Spectral edition, which is a full black and white edition of book 2. We did this for the first book. When you get like the collection bundle, you get the Spectral edition, and that is they will be this like ultra rare collector's edition of the Embrace, because the initial idea was to do this book in black and white.
I see. And then so is that one going to be glow in the dark as well, or just...
No? So that one will just be, everything will be black and white, and it will have that Shelby Robertson piece as the cover for the Spectral edition of book 2. Beautiful. But it will just, everything's black and white. Then you also get an Embrace standee, an acrylic standee of the Embrace, and a mini print gallery that will have pretty much every art, like pretty much every piece of art that has ever been done for these books.
I like the idea of the box too. It's great to throw it up on your shelf, especially when the comics might be floppies. It's a great way to kind of put it up there with your other, larger books or hardcovers. And let's see the shirt. What's the image that is going to be on the shirt? Is it going to be the same image that's on the box?
Let me show you. I actually have that. Let me. So the front of the shirt has the Embrace logo, and then on the shoulder you have a 9 Realms patch. But then on the back,
all right, here, let me
have this piece that we had done by Dan Dahl, and it was colored by Paul Bellick, the colorist of.
You're frozen there. Let me.
Oh,
are you holding it up?
No, give me a sec. I've got to.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up so that I can share screen.
Roger.
Yes, I understand. Let's proceed. So you have this on there.
Okay, here we go.
And this will be the last campaign that this shirt is on there, because I'm going to be changing up with some cooler designs here for future books. But
very schmexy. I like that a lot. And the shirt's going to be black shirt, white shirt?
Yeah, black shirt with, and as I said, on the front, you have the embrace. Then you have like a 9 Realms patch, on like a 9 Realms logo on your shoulder. And then on the back, you have this.
I like that a lot. All right, so we'll go back. Yeah. There we go. All right. Oh, Waylon Todd's making me laugh over here. He kind of reminds me of Jabba. I kind of miss Jabba, the creator, lately. My resident troll. Okay, so yeah, so there you have it. Do you have anything else that you would like to share about the Embrace?
Obviously we have, we have stretch goals that we're trying to hit. I will say that one of the cool things that we're doing on this is, as I said, we're running the campaign on all of the crowdfunding platforms, and those stretch goals will be active throughout all of them. So, and what that means is, let's say worst case scenario, we only hit like the second stretch goal while we're live on Indiegogo.
Right. Let me go down to the stretch goals here so we can review those real quick here.
Yeah. Like when we're on Fund My Comic and everything, all of that money will be added into what we've made so far. And let's say we raise another $3,000 on Fund My Comic. Well, that would put, if we passed the second stretch goal at 7,500, that would get us 2 more stretch goals, pretty much.
Right.
Or it would get us 1 more stretch goal and put us right on the doorstep of another. And then if we got another, $2,000 on Kickstarter, that would push us past our final stretch goal at 12K. And so what that would do is that would unlock all of the stretch goals for everyone who backed from all of the campaigns.
Very nice.
Regardless of where you backed. So and then let's say you backed on the Fund My Comic or the Kickstarter. All of the stretch goals that have already been unlocked apply to your order.
Yeah, I like that way of doing it. So it kind of gives everyone a chance to kind of get in on the fun, on the upgrade, so to speak. All right.
So that's the only thing else that I have to say on the Embrace 2 right now. We have other things. I have other things that are, coming up. As I said, I have the reboot of Elysian Fields will be coming next year, and then it got bumped up to August. But we're going to be there. I got hired to translate this French bande dessinée book called the Oden that I'm very excited for, and that's going to be launching, second week of August. On Kickstarter. So those are the only other 2 things that I've got going on right now. But the Embrace 2 is my focus right now.
Your big pet project there. What this project that you were talking about, the Oden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any relation or anything? Can you give us any details on that?
It's a beautifully illustrated retelling of the Norse myth on Odin, the Allfather.
Oh,
and so the artist is this guy, Erwan. I'm not going to try and I can't remember. I don't want to butcher his full name, and I don't have it written. I don't have it right up in front of me.
Yeah, but, I always butcher names. If there's a way to butcher it, I will.
That studied at Walt Disney Animation Studio Europe and is a historical illustrator for multiple museums in Europe. And so all of these pieces are beautiful, and all of the armor and everything is authentic and period accurate. It is drop dead gorgeous. And it's a 9.5 by 12.5 hardcover book with 144 pages. And the base book's going to be $27. So
44 pages.
144.
Oh God, Mo. He is translating the book, but he can't pronounce the names.
All right, so hold on.
It's true. No. It's true Mo fashion.
He has like it's Erwan sur le Behan.
Oui.
Like
I don't know.
Like, does that make you does that make you happy, Mo?
Nothing makes Mo happy. He's not happy unless he's unhappy, right, Mo?
But like hold on. You know what? I'll pull up because he's been posting up some art. So here's an example of some of this guy's art from the book.
There we go. Ooh.
Yeah. So absolutely drop dead gorgeous stuff. There's a Kickstarter that'll be, like he does all of it. This is all like traditionally drawn and I think digitally painted. Like,
and 144 pages, $27
for a hardcover 9.5 by 12.5 dimension book.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I wonder what the shipping's going to be on that. That's usually
it's going to be like $6.
What?
Yeah.
How?
No,
what devil magic is this?
The publisher has the biggest cheat ever, and I am more than a little jealous of it.
Oh, great. Well, we like the good kind of insider secrets there. Anything that can get the cost of the books down, the shipping down, that's good for everybody for sure. Well, Michael, thank you so much. I guess we've been going for a little bit here. We had a chance to go over Embrace 1 and kind of go over the campaign. Please, people, consider checking out the Embrace 2. It is on Indiegogo right now. Let's see. We could just get it over here. It's like just sitting under 6,500. It'd be nice to get to that second stretch goal.
Yeah, that would make me happy. If we could get to that before the end of the first 30 days, I'd be very happy.
And let's see, how many days?
We still have
2
days left,
weeks
so
left.
exactly 2 weeks.
We could do it, guys. I believe in us. Put that positive vibe out there. And I'm serious. If you guys are kind of on the fence about checking it out, the story is great. Definitely try to pick up a copy of the first issue.
What I will say is, on top, like, if you need, if there are any other things that I can put out there, this will be my 6th book that I've done in 4 years of crowdfunding. All of my books have fulfilled.
You're a proven creator.
And any delays that I have had, I have communicated to my backers and kept them up to date regularly. Abra was very clearly on my Second Chance Kickstarter. She received the book. Like, how long did it take for me to get the book out to you?
Oh my God. It was like
4 weeks,
lightning fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's a question of, I don't know, like, I don't want to get burned by another person, I don't want to have to wait X amount of time. We are hoping to have these books out to everybody between January and February of 2025, because I want the Embrace 2 to be completely done fulfilling by the time I do my Elysian Fields Reborn launch in March.
Perfect. But yeah, just this story, like I said, it's a tender story. It's an intriguing story. I really enjoyed it. It's fun too, that interaction with Clarence and David. And I think if you give it a chance, if you pick it up, I think you will really enjoy it. So get on it, doggone it. Oh goodness. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate you agreeing to come on my stream. You're just a great creator. I love what you've made here. And I'm going to have to go back and check out some of your other books. Somehow I missed the Elysium Fields, and I'm going to have to check that out. And then also check out your that Viking.
I'll send you the Kickstarter link for the pre-launch page, so that way you can be signed up and know when that's going live.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, people try to do the signups. You never know if you're going to get one of those the secret tier options, but it's just a great way to keep up to date with all of the news and everything on the various campaigns. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone in the chat who stopped by. Of course, Smoke Diggs. What would I do without your humor? New name here, I think. Miranda, it was great to see you.
That would be my girlfriend. Thank you so much for stopping by, sweetheart. I love you. Hope you're doing well.
I appreciate you stopping by, Miranda. It's always nice to have our significant others show moral support. Waylon Todd, thank you. You keep me on my toes. I appreciate that. Let's see, who else do we have here? Awesome One. A lot of stuff from Mo and Waylon. I love the banter back and forth. And I think I saw Jeremy Burtz. Yep, Jeremy Burtz in here. All of you great people and Maromi. How did I miss Maromi? And I think I saw Phil Diaz in here earlier, but thank you everyone who popped in. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. And again, thank you, Michael. And yeah, hit me up the next one,
Absolutely.
All right, everyone, take it easy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
50 sets off of me. I've had enough. Get the hell out of my house. In Jesus' name, I pray.